What's up, everyone? Nick Shaw here, RP Strength, filling in for Dr. Mike. Everyone's tired of him, let's be honest. Let's get in some new faces. Talking today about Fit for Success, my newest book. If you want to check it out, highly encourage people to get it on Amazon. I think it's a pretty quick and easy read, 150 pages. You can read it in probably an afternoon. You're going to get a lot out of it. Today, we are talking about success habit number 6, failure. Failure is one of the habits of success. That seems really counterintuitive, you might say. And I would say, yes, I agree. However, it's not failure by itself, it's how you deal with failure. I have never met a successful individual that has not failed before at some point in their life. If you show me that person, I'll show you someone that's probably not very successful. There's a difference between successful and unsuccessful people. Unsuccessful people are sort of so afraid of failure that they don't even get started in the first place. They assume that if they fail, that's it. They're done, it's over. There's no place to go after that. So one type of unsuccessful individual. The other type would be they fail once and they don't learn anything from it and they keep repeating the same mistakes. Right? And if you keep repeating the same mistakes over time, you're probably not setting yourself up for success. So with failure, it's ultimately how you deal with it, what you learn from it, and what you do going forward. That is a real key and why it is one of the factors to success. Because everyone's going to fail. My own failures, real quick, going back to high school, I had a huge goal. I wanted to set our track and field school records. I wanted my name to be up on the board, of course. And my junior year, our 1,600 meter relay team was less than a second away from breaking the record at the state meet. That was a pretty big driving force for me going into my senior year. What happens my senior year? I'm running the 800 meter at the state track meet to set our school record, which is a pretty decent record held by a guy I ran in college or whatever. Less than a second from breaking that. So again, happened 2 straight years. So again, that's kind of my own failure. It kind of always in the back of my head, always a driving force for me. I've competed twice in bodybuilding shows. I think there were 7 and 9 people in each one. I did not place in the top 5 in either one. So there we go. My own handful of failures kind of always keep driving me. What did I learn from them? Just kept working, kept pushing myself. So we've all heard the stories. Michael Jordan, cut from the varsity his sophomore year, obviously went on to become the greatest player of all time, arguably, of course. Thomas Edison, famous quote, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Creator of Harry Potter, of course, H.K. Rowling, the same. Walt Disney was told he was, lacked creativity and imagination. Everyone's going to fail along the way. If you know that going in, you can help change your mindset and perspective that when you do fail, it's just important to learn from it. Because again, if you do fail, you learn from it. It makes you humble, of course. You can't have a big ego. We've talked about that before. You cannot have a big ego. Also, it's going to help you seek more knowledge, right? Because if you fail, hopefully what you say to yourself is, well, why the hell did I fail? What do I need to do to make sure that I avoid that and never do it again going forward? So again, maybe it's reading books, or here's the cool thing about books and why I love reading so much. So again, you can read other people's lives and stories from hundreds, thousands of years ago. You can see and learn from their own failures. So you learn from that, you get better. Hopefully you don't repeat their mistakes. Again, you can read this book and you can learn about some failures I made with RP along the way, and you just don't repeat them. You're going to be better off. Right, and again, if you have more of a growth mindset, which we've talked about before, one of my good friends, Navy SEAL Chief Dan Luna, said, good quote, "Obstacles are opportunities." So we know there's always going to be bumps in the road. See it as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to get better. You take the mindset where even if something bad does happen, you sort of say, well, hey, good. Now I can learn from it. I'm going to get better. That's never going to happen again. So there's going to be some good that came from it. So again, I could sit here and say 2020 has been a really horrible year, whatever. It has impacted tons of people negatively. But at the same time, it kind of led to this and, led to some, I think, pretty good things. So how do you deal with adversity and all that? It's going to be really important. All right. In dieting, what about failure in dieting and health and fitness? So if you have 4 meals a day for 3 months, 120 meals, you can fail 20 of those meals. You can mess up and not do well. You're still going to have good outcomes. It goes back to the idea of consistency being more important than perfection. A lot of people get so tied up with needing to be perfect that if they have one slip up, it leads to the what the hell effect. You know, we've all been there, I'm sure. You have one little slip up on your diet, all of a sudden you're like, well, to hell with this. I'm gonna go eat an entire pizza, and wings, and drink a 6-pack of beer. Well, it's like, that's not the right approach. If you mess up, you just get right back on track. That's it. It's as simple as that. Just get right back on track. Super easy. Consistency is more important than perfection. All right, so how do we fail better? So here's some things. Experiment with a lot of different things. And again, fail small. So don't put so many effort and resources into something that you're unsure of. If you are unsure, try it out a little bit. It's kind of the lean startup model. Again, the lean startup model says you kind of just get something out with an MVP, minimal viable product, get it out, get some feedback, test it, learn from it, get all that, improve, get better. You keep repeating that process. You're not going to come out with some huge hulking thing that costs billions of dollars because you don't know what the feedback's going to be, if it's going to be good or bad. Keep that in mind. If you start small, you fail small, you can learn from it and adapt going forward. It's a good book. It's called Adapt by Tim Harford. It's all about failure. I think it's really important. If you want to check that out, I would highly recommend it. Again, the whole idea behind the MVP model is you just iterate, get feedback, improve, repeat that process, keep going. All right. So when it does come to some human biases in and around failure, something that you have to keep in mind is a status quo bias. So in fitness or dieting, you might just think, oh, well, I've been doing this particular diet or training program for a while. I'm just going to stick with it. Well, you don't really know. You're kind of falling victim to the status quo bias. You don't really want to change things up, and change could be bad. It could be good, could be bad. You don't really know. But at the same time, you don't want to get stuck with too much status quo. Keep that in mind. It's one of these things where humans tend to be a little afraid of failure. I think maybe it's part of school or whatever along the way. But if you think back to like true, as kids, we fail all the time, right? Because that's how we learn. So if you kind of keep that approach and mindset, later on in life, and now obviously I'm not saying go out and fail at every single thing you do because that doesn't make any sense. But again, just be a little less cautious. Don't be afraid to take some risks. And again, if you do start small, fail small, learn from it, adapt, keep growing over time. All right, and final tips. Humans, we're not perfect. We're not robots. We are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to fail. It's just part of it. That's the way things are going to go. Realize our limitations. Embrace failure a little bit. Learn from it. Don't have a big ego. Because again, if you have a big ego, you're always going to be scared to fail. And if you do fail, you're going to blame other people. You're not going to own the problems. You're going to probably compound, not going to be successful or productive. So some key takeaways. Don't be afraid of failure at the end of the day, especially in diet and training, because we're not perfect and consistency is more important than perfection. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, see you later, guys.